Right. I'm sure that you all are here. I'm yet to see the names of all the students. So good morning to all of you, and we are Ajit Kumar. Good morning. Yes, Ajit. Samir. Good morning. Atul, Nazia, Hafiz, Pinky, Khagesh. All good to see you all. Right. After so many days, I can read the name. Right. Marufa. So good morning to all of you. I know that you are under tremendous pressure of many classes, and in those classes, my class was also there, and that class was in a recorded format. So I kept it a little smaller class only, 1.5 hour, but it was crisp and concise, right? And I'm sure that you must have gone through this nuclear technology. And in the last class of nuclear technology, I also talked about defense technology. So this defense technology is going to be our last topic of this science and technology, right? And once we have done with this science and technology, then soon we will start our environment classes, right? So science and technology and environment, two topic. That is my responsibility, right? And we'll go with that, right? So I'm so happy to see you all. Really happy to see every one of you. Rahul Kumar is saying Fukushima wastewater. Yes, Fukushima wastewater is there. It's a current development. And this kind of water which comes out of nuclear reactor, you need to dispose of properly. Yes, I missed you all too, right? So in every recorded class, I told the same thing that I'm missing you. So it goes without saying that I missed you, right? Okay. So let's start without wasting time. And like I told you that in the last class, I talked about a very important concept, that is nuclear triad. Nuclear triad. That India's ability to strike nuclear weapon from air, land, and water, right? That is nuclear triad. And today we are going to continue with that is defense technology. And in this defense technology, we are going to talk about a lot many things. Today, our focus will be on missile system, because missile systems are those which are very much important. And UPSC have tendency to ask question from the missile system in prelims, right? And sometime the related question can also come in mains examination as well, right? Fareen is asking how many classes are remaining. Fareen, today and tomorrow. Tomorrow, that means Saturday also we are having extra class. So in this 2 day, I'm going to cover this defense technology. And then after that, we'll start this environment, right? Environment part. Anyway, so defense technology we are going to discuss. And here we are going to discuss what is that? Missile. Missile. So missile, you know what is missile? Missile is a weapon system. And this weapon system can carry the warhead, right, to the target. So in missile, you can put two type of warhead, right? So missile is a weapon system, right? It's a weapon system to carry warhead. Warhead. That is called what? Warhead. This warhead can also be called as payload, right? Payload. So warhead or payload you can say like. But appropriate term with the missile system is warhead itself, right? And this warhead can be of two types. This warhead could be conventional, and non-conventional. Non-conventional. And whenever I say conventional, then it is TNT basically. It's explosive. And whenever I say non-conventional, it is nuclear weapon. What is that? Nuclear weapons, right? So a missile are designed to carry. Sometimes it is designed to carry conventional weapons. Sometimes it is designed to carry both of them, right? And then these missiles can be of two types, right? If you talk about types of missile, then there are two types of missile, right? And it's very easy to understand it. The first type of this missile is called ballistic missile. Ballistic missile. I'm sure that you know about it, right? Ballistic missile. And the second type of this missile is known as cruise missile. Cruise missile. I'll give you some example first, and then we'll discuss about it. Example of ballistic missile is Agni, Prithvi, right? So Agni Prithvi is a kind of ballistic missile, whereas example of cruise missile is BrahMos. BrahMos, Nirbhay, right? Nirbhay. And recently, we are developing this BrahMos 2 also. That will be the better cruise missile that we can have, right? So here you can understand ballistic missile and cruise missile. Now, what is ballistic? What is cruise? That is the one thing that we can understand, right? And for that, I'll take you to the next slide, and there we can understand what is ballistic and what is cruise, right? So here we can simply say we can divide it into two parts, and then we can talk about it. So ballistic missile. So ballistic missile will have ballistic pathway, right? So path of the missile will be like this. So this is surface, and the missile will be going like this, right? So this is ballistic pathway. That means the missile is growing like this, and there is no control during the flight path of the missile. That means you just throw the missile in the air, and then this missile will take a projectile pathway, and then it will be coming down, right? It will be coming down. So these are called ballistic missile. Ballistic is kind of throwing stone, whereas cruise missile, if I talk about cruise missile, cruise missile. So cruise missile is like this. So cruise missile, if this is surface, let's say this is surface, right? So cruise missile will rise, it will run parallel to the ground, it can come back and it can strike. That means you can always control the path of the cruise missile. So the biggest difference between ballistic and cruise, that in ballistic, what is there? In ballistic, it is not controlled during the flight path, right? So no control during flight path. And here what we have, control during the flight path. When it is flying, you have total control, right? Second difference is here that it can rise up into the atmosphere. Sometimes it goes to the upper edge of the atmosphere. It can enter into the outer atmosphere, right? So it rises up in the atmosphere. But here the cruise is very important because it fly parallel to the surface, and that is also low height. So it can be as high as 10 meters. So sometimes this height of this is 10 meter only. So 10 meter only means it is running parallel, right? It is running very parallel. Whereas it can go to the upper atmosphere. Sometimes it can go to the upper atmosphere. I mean, it can go 200, 300, even more than 100 kilometers it can go, right? And because it rises up in the atmosphere, so it is rising up in the atmosphere, and with the help of physics, you can calculate the entire path. So even the enemy can calculate the entire path. So it is like, ballistic is like what? Ballistic is something which can be easily detected by the radar system, right? So it can be detected by the radar system because it is like going like an arrow, or let's say any stone or any ball. So when you throw a ball towards the wicketkeeper, the wicketkeeper can judge it that where it is going to fall, because wicketkeeper is also looking at the projectile motion. Similarly, enemy radar can easily detect the ballistic missile and its path and target, and they can, after detection, they can engage it in the air itself by air defense system, and it can be killed in the air itself, right? Recently, Israel is under war with Hamas, and Hamas fired 5,000 missiles in one go. And you might have heard about it, that because of this huge number of missiles fired by Hamas, Israel air defense system failed. Israel has got a very good air defense system that is called Iron Dome. And Iron Dome is like, enemy missile is coming from this side, and another missile will go and they will put a strike, and the missile will be stopped in the air itself. Those missiles are basically what? Ballistic missiles. Those missiles are ballistic missiles. You might have seen Ramayana, Mahabharata. In Ramayana and Mahabharata, what is there? Ravan has launched a missile. Tir is basically a missile. Arrow is basically a missile. And Ram has also launched one missile. And both of the Tir came in front of each other, and then it's all done. So such kind of thing can be done, right? So rise up in the atmosphere, and it can be detected by radar. Can be detected by radar. And one more point, can be killed by air defense system. Air defense system. Right? So that is ballistic. But ballistic is good. Ballistic is good in terms of, because obviously this is a main strike, and it can carry heavy payload. And it can penetrate deep into the enemy territory. Right? It can penetrate deep into enemy territory. That means it can cover more distance into it. Right? Whereas here we can say, like in this, we can say like difficult to detect, not impossible, but difficult to detect by radar. Why? Because it is flying too low height. So low height will be there, and with the low height it is difficult to detect. And when it is difficult to detect, then again we can say like difficult. Right? So here we can say like difficult to be killed by air defense. Difficult to be killed by air defense. Right? And one more point you can say like, these are called strategic weapon. A strategic weapon. And these are called tactical weapon. Tactical weapon and strategic weapon. You have to understand the difference. Right? And strategic weapon are those weapons which are there with you, and you show off them. You just show off them. You show off to China and Pakistan that, okay, I have a weapon for you. And it can go deeply into your territory, and it can deliver atom bomb. Like Prithvi and Agni. These are the strategic weapon for India that basically there for power balancing with Pakistan and China. But tactical weapon are those that we use in the border war. So when the war is going on, then we will use it. Tactically, in the war we can use it. Like BrahMos is a tactical weapon. It is not strategic. Tactical means that when the war is there, we can use it. Right? And strategic weapons are those that you keep it with you. Like Agni 5 is a strategic weapon. We never fired Agni 5 on anybody, but we have kept it ready for China. So it is ready for China to strike anywhere. That is strategic weapon. So ballistics will come into strategic weapon. Right? Now, this is about ballistic and cruise missile. Example I have already given. Now, I'll take you to the next point, and there we can say like how this missile development program started in India. Then we have talked about it. Kalam Sahab was there initially in ISRO, and 1983 he was basically transferred to the RDL, and then he started IGMDP, Indian Missile Development Program. So, next topic that we are going to discuss is IGMDP. That is called Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, and this is something that we started in 1983, and it went up to 2008. So that was a timeline that we have decided, and during this timeline, we developed 4 type of missile, because one missile that we stopped developing, and I'll tell you what were those missiles. It was Agni, Prithvi, Akash, Trishul, and Nag. These all were ballistic missile. So it was ballistic missile only. Agni and Prithvi is basically your surface to surface missile. Surface to surface missile, right? Akash and Trishul is your surface to air missile. That means the missile will launch from a surface and it will engage a target in the air. Surface to surface means what? That launch from surface and strike on the surface of the enemy. And Nag is very important for us because this is our anti-tank missile. Anti-tank missile. But remember one thing, here we started with 4 missile system, but Trishul missile system we stopped developing. So here somewhere you can write, right? So this was stopped. So this was development was stopped and it was removed from IGMDP. So it is no more with us. That is why we never see Trishul missile, right? Trishul missile, right? So Trishul missile was there as a plan in IGMDP, but we never developed it, right? So these are the missiles under IGMDP, and Prithvi was the first missile that India has developed under this project. It was first ever missile India developed. But right now we have different missile system, right? So first of all, after IGMDP, we are going to discuss that what are the Indian missiles, right? The major Indian missiles that we are going to develop that India has developed so far. So next is Indian missile. Indian missile, right? An Indian missile can be divided into 2 parts. One is called IGM. You can divide into ballistic missile, so ballistic, and then we can also talk about cruise, ballistic and cruise, right? All the missile I'm going to talk about. And there, this ballistic can also be divided into. This ballistic can be divided into 2 parts. One is called IGMDP missile, so missile under IGMDP, and here we can say like other missile that is outside IGMDP, right? So in IGMDP, what we have right now is Agni, Prithvi, Akash, and Nag. Trishul I have removed. And in others, what we have? In others, we have Dhanush missile, K series missile, Prahar missile, Pralay missile, and then we have something called Astra missile. So these are the missile systems that we have developed, which is outside IGMDP, right? So Dhanush, K series, Prahar, Pralay, and Astra. And in the cruise missile system, we have 2 missile systems. One is BrahMos, another is Nirbhay. BrahMos is Indo-Russian. That means we are partnered with Russia into this, and this is totally Indian. The rest of them that we have talked about are Indian, that is why I never mentioned it. So these are your missile systems that you have, right? And here only I'll tell you that which missiles can carry nuclear weapons. So Agni can carry nuclear weapon, this can carry nuclear weapon, this can carry nuclear weapon, and this can carry nuclear weapon. So you have 4 missile systems which can carry nuclear weapon. So NW means nuclear weapon. So 4 missile system can carry nuclear weapon. Got it? So I just want you to write this and look at this so that you can get familiar with the name. Done? Okay, perfect. So now we can go ahead with one by one we'll talk about. The important one we are going to talk about. Should we go ahead? Out of all these things, this Pralay is important one. Pralay is important. Pralay has got something very unique, and that I'll tell you because we are going to discuss about it. So Pralay is the latest one, and not only Pralay but Astra is also. Okay. So the next topic that we are going to discuss one by one. So first topic I'll take Agni. Agni missile, and it's a strategic missile because this has been developed for China, right? So first of all, 3 things about Agni. First is it is surface to surface, S to S. That is called surface to surface missile. Second is that it is based on solid fuel. So solid fuel in the rocket, you know that which kind of fuel? So solid fuels means the rocket. Agni is a rocket only. So it's a solid fuel rocket, and solid fuel has its own advantage. I'll tell you what advantage it can have. And then the third one can carry both conventional and nuclear warhead. Both conventional and nuclear warhead, and that is why this is more in a strategic thing. BrahMos will not carry nuclear warhead, right? But this will carry. And there we are going to discuss about that what are the variants of Agni, right? So Agni has got different variants. There are different variants of Agni. And like, so here we are going to discuss variants. And the variants are like Agni 1, Agni 2, Agni 3, Agni 4, and Agni 5. There are something that you can learn out of these variants. That is why I'm going in detail. Right? Agni 1, that is something which can carry the payload up to 700 to 1200 kilometers. The range of this 700 to 1200 kilometers. That is the range. Agni 1. And This is one stage. Like the stages we have talked about in PSLV and GSLV, similarly, this is one stage, single stage weapon. Single stage weapon, right? Agni 2 is a little better. It can carry the warhead to 2000 to 2500 km. And this is two stages. How many stages? Two stages. Agni 3 was very important because with Agni 3, India developed best rocket or best missile that India could develop around that time. Agni 3 was something very superlative, very nice. So there was a huge technological leap from Agni 2 to Agni 3. And Agni 3 can go around 3,500 km. And this has got two stages only. Two stages. Then once Agni 3 was developed, then what we did? Some scientists of DRDO, they improved the Agni 2. The Agni 2 was improved. And when Agni 2 was improved a little, then it was called Agni 4. Agni 4. So Agni 4 is basically what? It is improved version of, right? Improved version of Agni 2, right? So Agni 4 can carry the things up to 3,000 km, and then it is again two stages. That is why we see that Agni 3 is more capable than Agni 4, right? And one more thing, then we developed a very important aspect, and Agni 3 was improved by adding one extra stage onto it. And then we got our first missile, which can be considered as ICBM, because it can strike 5,000 km plus, and then it has got three stages. Three stages. So you can imagine. So one stage is added. This is two stages, and this is three stages. That is what I told. Right? That is what I told. So Agni 5 can go up to 5,000 km, and then it can carry nuclear warhead. That is why it is a strategic, and it is improvement over Agni 3. Right? And recently we developed one more version of Agni. That is the most. That is called Agni Prime. Agni Prime, the most recent version. Agni Prime. Agni Prime is two stages, and it is a strike range is having 1,000 to 2,000 km. So strike range is 1,000 to 2,000 km. This is two stages. And Agni 5, Agni Prime, that is the latest one, it is being said that it is going to replace Agni 1 and 2. So Agni 1 and 2 will be replaced by Agni 5. So here I can write it. I'll write it there. That is Agni Prime. So this is considered as replacement of Agni 1 and 2. Right? But there is one more thing that you could know about all these Agni missiles. Right? If I look at this entire thing, look at this. So Agni 3, 5 and Prime. So Agni 3, here I can write Agni 3, Agni 5 and Agni Prime. This is all. Diameter of it, diameter is 2 meter. Diameter is what? 2 meter. Right? Diameter is 2 meter. So here the diameter is what? 2 meter. And once the diameter is 2 meter, then you can do one thing. You can put multiple warhead into this. Multiple warhead. Multiple warhead. Right? What is multiple warhead? That once you launch the missile will go as a one missile. But after a certain height, the missile will release more than one warhead to different locations. In the Ramayana, you might have seen that Sri Ram has launched an arrow, and the arrow was like one arrow. But in the journey only, in the flight only, one arrow converted into 5 arrows. So that is called multiple warhead. Similar kind of missiles we can develop. Missile will fly as one. Enemy will be knowing that this is just one missile with one warhead. But once the missile has gone to a particular height, it will open up, and then what will happen? More than one warhead will come out. Up to 8 warhead you can deliver. The enemy will be surprised. That is why Agni 3, 5 and Prime is considered to be advanced version of Agni. Whereas the rest of them, let's say, the other I can say, here, this, and this. These are having diameter of 1 meter. And they can carry just single payload. Single warhead. So which one is better? Multiple warhead is better? Because with the multiple warhead you can do what? You can dodge. You can dodge the air defense system. Right? So this is your Agni with a little bit of additional information. I'm not saying that you should memorize all these things, but you should know that Agni 3, 5 and Prime can carry multiple warhead because its diameter is 2 meter. The rest of them they cannot because diameter is around 1 meter. And you should consider that Agni 3 is very advanced, and then one more stage has been added to Agni 3, and then we got Agni 5, and Agni Prime is going to be replacement of Agni 1 and 2. Yes, Agni, one arrow converts into many. Right. Got it? Out of all these things, out of all these 6 Agni missiles, Agni 5 is a strategic one. Somlal is saying the right thing that China has also Dongfeng. Dongfeng, किसने कहा था ना कि we have kept this missile for China. Yes, that is true. Agni 5 is for China. So you can write one heading. एक point लिखो. And you can write Agni 5 is India's first ICBM. India's first ICBM. So I'm talking about Agni 5. First ICBM. That is called Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. First ICBM. Right? So that is India's first ICBM. Right? Next you can write importance I'm going to tell about. Right? This missile is strategically important This missile is strategically important because it can deliver. It can deliver. It can deliver nuclear warhead to any location in China. To any location in China. Any location in China. Right? Got it? Next you can write. This missile is having diameter of 2 meter. This missile is having diameter of 2 meter and diameter of 2 meter and it can carry multiple payload. It can carry multiple payload to overwhelm the air defense system of enemy. Overwhelm the air defense system of enemy. Right. Air defense system of enemy. Right. One more point you can write. Agni is solid fueled. Agni is solid fueled. So it can be easily launched. From mobile launchers. It can be easily launched by mobile launchers. Right? Mobile launchers. Right? Which gives operational flexibility and sudden strike capability. The operational flexibility is there and sudden strike capability, because solid fuel missiles are better than liquid fuel missile. Here you need to understand solid fuel are non-corrosive fuel. They are non-corrosive, so they are not going to damage the internals of the missile. So once you develop a solid fuel missile, then you can keep this solid fuel missile in a fueled condition. Fueled condition is also known as ready to launch condition. And you can carry this missile in a fueled condition on a mobile launcher, truck launcher. So the position of the missile will keep on changing into the warfield. And enemy will never get to know that from where they are going to get the strike. That is called operational flexibility. And that gives sudden strike capability that enemy will be surprised. You got that? So this is what the Agni series or Agni 5 gives us the importance. So if a question comes about Agni 5, importance of it, you can write it. Solid fuel missiles are better than liquid fuel missile. That is one thing. Now we are moving on to the next part. And that is our Prithvi missile. Prithvi missile. Again, H2S. Second, liquid fuel. That is the problem. Liquid fuel missile, and that is the problem basically. It should not be liquid fuel, but it can carry both conventional and nuclear warhead. So this is for Pakistan, and that is the first missile developed under ICMPP. Right? So there is one more thing, that it was first missile developed under IGMDP. Rather, you can select first ever missile that India has developed. Right. And the variants we can talk about. So let's talk about variants. And there are three variants of Prithvi. The first is Prithvi 1, Prithvi 2, and then we have Prithvi 3. 1, 2, and 3. 3 we are not using anymore. So this Prithvi 1 is having a strike range of 150 km. This is having a strike range of 250 to 350 km. And this is having a strike range of 350 km. Right? And if you talk about stages, although it's not very important over here, the stages are like single stage, and two stage. Right? And this Prithvi 2 is basically our main strike for Pakistan. Right? So this is our main strike for Pakistan. And that is basically what? Strategic again. Why strategic? Because it can carry nuclear weapon. Prithvi 3, we have scrapped it. Rather, Prithvi 3 has been converted into naval version that is known as Dhanush. Right? So Prithvi 3, this Prithvi 3 has been converted into naval version Dhanush missile. Dhanush missile. So nothing important in this. But yes, one thing is very important, that this was the first missile we developed, and that is a very good nuclear deterrence against Pakistan, and is strategically important for Pakistan. Right? That is what I mentioned over here. Right? But problem with this missile is that this missile is having liquid fuel. So initially when we have no missile, the liquid fuel missile was okay. That was okay. But now it is not okay. Why it is not okay? Because obviously this liquid fuel missile will be difficult to be launched from the mobile launcher. because liquid fuel is corrosive fuel. It has corrosion. It can corrode the internals of the missile system. So every time when you are going to launch the liquid fuel missile, you have to fuel it right there, right then and there. And anyhow, if you could not launch it, you have to take the fuel out. If you want to move the missile from one point to the other point on a mobile launcher, then you have to take the fuel out of the missile, then only you can move it. And before launching, again you have to put the fuel inside. So now refueling and defueling is a very difficult job. It reduces your operational flexibility. But then when we have nothing, then this was okay. But now DRDO has already developed a missile that is going to replace this Prithvi 1 at least, because Prithvi 1 is deployed at border. So Prithvi 1, this is a strategic main strike for Pakistan. And strategic means what? Nuclear weapon. Nuclear weapon. But Prithvi 1 is deployed at Indo-Pak border. So this is our Indo-Pak border missile that we have deployed over there. But imagine the situation that it is deployed over there, but it is not having the proper fuel. So every time when there is a tension on the border, then our soldiers get command that fuel the missile. So they put the fuel inside the missile, ready to launch. And when the tension is eased, then they take the fuel out. So many times they have fuel it and defuel it. How frustrating it would be. Right? Somnal is saying Pakistan misfire BrahMos. Pakistan to misfire BrahMos से डर गया था सर. अच्छा. हाँ, इंडिया ने एक पाकिस्तान के ऊपर BrahMos ऐसे ही छोड़ दिया था, मिसाइल कर दिया था. फ्रस्ट्रेट होकर कर दिया होंगे ना. Because every time you say that पृथ्वी के अंदर fuel डालो और निकाल लो. Every time you put the fuel, you take the fuel out. Liquid fuel is same as rocket fuel. Monomethyl hydrogen, dimethyl hydrogen. Right. So to replace this Prithvi 1, we are developing a new missile. Already developed one missile that is called Prahar. So you can write one more point. इसी के नीचे लिखो. DRDO has developed solid fuel Prahar missile. Solid fuel Prahar missile, which will replace Prithvi 1. Right? So what is Prahar missile? So Prahar missile is nothing but it is replacement of Prithvi 1. And the second thing, it is solid fuel. So you can imagine what solid fuel can give you more operational flexibility. So solid fuel leads to more operational flexibility. Right? Range will be 150 km and it is single stage. Same thing, nothing else. It's just one thing that has been changed, that is solid fuel. Right? Right. Now this Prahar missile is very good because it's solid fuel. Right? And we have developed some versions of Prahar because we are selling the missile to the other world also, other country. So Prahar के भी variants है. Prahar का एक export version that is called Pragati missile. So we have developed export version of this Prahar missile, that is called Pragati missile, and we have one extended version that is called Pranash. Extended means the range will be higher, so that is called Pranash missile. And because it is extended version, so it is going to be 200 km. That is what we have. Operational flexibility, operational ease, operational flexibility. Right. So Prahar, you have to keep in the mind that is basically replacement of Prithvi 1. Right. Now let's move on to the next one. And like I told you that Agni Prithvi 3 has been converted into naval version, and that is called Dhanush. So next is Dhanush only. So Dhanush is navalized Prithvi, right? So we can call it navalized version of Prithvi. Right. So it is navalized version of Prithvi. Right. And this Dhanush is a basically ship launch ballistic missile. So what we call it? It is called ship launch ballistic missile. Ship launch ballistic missile. So that can be launched from the ship, right? And strike range is 350 km, same. Stages are 2. And it can carry nuclear warhead also. You know that Dhanush is nuclear warhead missile. And launching from the ship is very difficult thing, right? Launching from the ship is very difficult thing because missile launching is being done and the ship is not a stable platform. Ship will have turbulence because it is on the water, in the ocean, and the ocean has turbulence. So this Dhanush system is made up of two things: a stabilizing platform and missile system. Platform is so nicely made with higher technology that turbulence of the ship will never reach to the missile. It's a kind of shock absorber, right? So you can add capable of nuclear attack from ship, right? That is basically part of our nuclear triad. And most important thing, that it is made up of two things. It has two parts, two components. The first is called a stabilizing platform, and the second is missile. So it is having a stabilizing platform and the missile. So it's like this. If I can draw. So this is your ship. So this is your ship. So this is having one stabilizing platform, right? And then it will have our missile system. So this is our missile system. You got me right? So this is having a stabilizing platform here and the missile here. So Dhanush is our third missile capable of nuclear. चलो गूगल से दिखा देता हूँ. So you could get the image, then yes. So you can get this image, yeah. So can you see this? So this is the stabilizing platform. So this keep the missile steady. The turbulence of the sea will not become up, and then it will be lost. So that is your Dhanush. Now we'll come to the next part. That is our K series missile, right? Because we are going to cover this nuclear one. K series missile. It's a very important one. With that only we were able to get our nuclear triad done. So K series missiles are basically SLBM. That is called submarine launch ballistic missile. Ballistic missile. Submarine launch ballistic missile. And this is a very serious business because very few countries have this capability to develop a missile which can be launched from the submarine, right? And we have developed one. And there are variants of it also. So variants. And variants are like K15, K4, and K5. K15, K4, and K5. So K15 has a range of 750 km. This will have a range of 3,500 km. And this will have a range of 5,000 to 6,000 km. Or you can say simply 5,000 plus km. So K15, K4, and K5. So this is developed and deployed on INS Arihant. This is our submarine. We'll talk about it. Right? This is developed and under testing. Trials are going on. And this is under development. So this K series missile is unique because it can be launched from within the water. From within the water. Right? So first of all, you write this. And then I'll show you the picture. You can see this picture that it is coming out of this thing, but then it is not very clear. Right. So this is your K series missile. So here you can see the clear picture of it. Right. Right. Speed सबकी supersonic है, 7 Mach, 8 Mach, like that. Speed आप याद नहीं रख पाओगे. So what is the benefit of getting the data that you cannot actually remember? Right. You write K15 is India's first SLBM. K15 is India's first SLBM, which is deployed on INS Arihant. INS Arihant. And this is capable of nuclear strike. Capable of nuclear strike. Right. Next you write with the development of K15. India became fifth country in the world to develop ISLBM. India became fifth country in the world to develop ISLBM. ISLBM. Right. Next you can write the land version of K-15 missile. The land version of K-15 missile is also developed. The land version of K-15 missile is also developed, known as Shaurya missile. So what we have done, we have developed a land version. That means it is so good missile that we developed a land version of K-15, and that is known as Shaurya missile. Right? So that is what we have done with the K series. Right? So very important, and this is the fourth missile of India which can carry nuclear warhead. Got it? Now quickly we'll going to discuss the more missile system, and another missile that we have is Akash. Akash missile. Like I told you, that Akash missile is S2A, surface to air, right? Second, that its strike range is 30 to 80 kilometer. 30 to 80 kilometer. Right. And it has got two stages. So this missile is of two stages. The first stage is solid fuel booster, and the second stage is ramjet engine, which runs on liquid fuel. It's an engine, jet engine, ramjet, and ramjet is one such engine. Land version में इसको land से हम launch कर सकते हैं. Ramjet is one such engine which do not need oxidizer to carry. Rather, it can suck the oxygen from the air itself. Right? So that is called ramjet. So ramjet is a kind of engine. Here I'm writing. You have to pay attention on that. It can suck air or oxygen from atmosphere. It can suck air or oxygen from atmosphere. So you just need to carry the liquid fuel. It will suck it. Right? It will take it. Right? Right. Now, what is the importance of Akash? Akash is a very integral part of our air defense system. It is basically part of air defense system. It's a part of air defense system. Right? Got it? And now we have developed better version of it, that is called Akash Prime. Right? So recently we have developed something called Akash Prime. So now we have a better variant of it. So Akash ka better version, you can select advanced version, and advanced version is known as Akash Prime. And Akash Prime is advanced in terms of that it is 90% more accurate than the previous one, right? So this is 90% more accuracy in engaging the target. So Akash is not that, I mean, it's important, you just need to know about its importance. So it's a part of our air defense system, and Akash Prime, obviously it will be replacing the Akash missile, and then now whatever Akash we are going to make, that will be Akash Prime, not the previous Akash, right? Anyway, so there's nothing more into this Akash. This is what we have to talk, right? Now we'll move on to the next missile system, and that missile system is Nag. है ना? तो डिफरेंशियली पढ़ना जिसमें जितनी जरूरत हो. Nag is important one because Nag is anti-tank missile, right? So this is called fire and forget anti-tank missile. So this is fire and forget anti-tank missile. It can destroy the tank, and you just need to fire in front of tank. Range of the Akash Prime is same. So after firing, this missile will find its path and target on its own. You don't need to aim and fire. You see the tank in front of you, you fire it. That's it, right? Strike range is up to 7 kilometers. It is up to 7 kilometers, right? Up to 7 kilometers, and it's good one. So basically, it has got infrared guidance system. That means missile can recognize its target. So once you fire, it will come like this, and then after recognizing the target, it will take its move. So this is based on infrared guidance system and can be used in a day and night in all weather conditions. That is why it's called fire and forget. So it is based on infrared guidance system, can be launched day or night in all weather conditions. So you can write fire day or night in all weather conditions, doesn't matter. Right? And we have made some versions of Nag. So Nag की कुछ versions हैं. Like one version is called Helena. Helena is helicopter Nag. So that is basically your helicopter version of Nag, and that is for army. army helicopter are fitted with that. But same Nag can be put onto Air Force helicopter, and that is called Dhruvastra. Now this is called Dhruvastra, and Dhruvastra is helicopter version of Nag for Air Force. The only difference is that Air Force has given the name Dhruvastra, whereas Army has given the name of Helena. Right? And then we have the third thing, that is called Namika. Namika. That is called Nag missile carrier. Nag missile carrier. Nag missile carrier. Right? And it can carry 12 Nag. 12 Nag in one battery. That is called battery. So this is a Nag missile carrier. It's a vehicle. It's a kind of war vehicle which will be having 12 Nag missiles together, and then you can fire 8 Nag in one go, and then after that 4 Nag. So if there is a bunch of truck tank which are coming towards you, then you can make use of this Nag missile carrier. IR guidance system is infrared guidance system. So engine will be burning diesel. Because of that, the heat will be there. Heat means infrared, and then the missile will seek infrared and it will go to the source of the infrared. So this infrared guidance system will find the temperature and heat of the engine, and then it will strike onto that. Right. Now the next one is Astra. Astra. Astra is very unique because it is called, this is what it is called, BBRAM. That is called Beyond Visual Range Air-to-Air Missile. Beyond Visual Range Air-to-Air Missile. That means this is a very high range air-to-air missile. Right? And you're right. This is India's first air-to-air missile. This is India's first air-to-air missile. India's first air-to-air missile for Air Force and Navy. For Air Force and Navy. Right? And we have variants. So variants are like two. One is called Astra Mark 1, and another one is called Astra Mark 2. Astra Mark 1 will have a strike range of 110 km. So 110 km, and it is developed. Sukhoi MKI-30 से launch भी किया इसको. Right? And Astra Mark 2 will have a strike range of 160 km. Right? And this is under development. So this is developed, and we have launched it at Sukhoi MKI-30. So we launched it from there. Right? So Astra is known as Beyond Visual Range Air-to-Air Missile, because obviously if you are flying an aircraft, and if the aircraft is flying and you are locking on a target which are 110 km away, then you can see, like, you can never see the target. So you can lock the target based on your radar information. That is why it is called Beyond Visual Range. It is called Beyond Visual Range. Right? So this is your Astra, nothing more in that. The most important feature that it is the first air-to-air missile India has developed for its own fighter jets. Right? Now we are coming to the next missile system, which is very important, and it's a very current thing, that is Pralay missile. Pralay missile. And Pralay is a unique missile, very unique. Unique in the term that Pralay is considered to be quasi-ballistic missile. It is quasi-ballistic missile. Now what is this quasi-ballistic missile that we talk about? Right? So we'll talk about this quasi-ballistic missile. Although this is also known as surface-to-surface missile, so this is S2S. S2S is fine, but what is quasi-ballistic? Quasi-ballistic means that this missile will have this way. Let's say this is the surface, and you are basically launching a ballistic missile, so ballistic missile will go in that way. And it is so easy to find the projectile of the ballistic missile. But Pralay will have very unique ability. Pralay's unique ability will be that this missile will rise like a ballistic missile, but at a point, let's say at this point, all of a sudden it might change its projectile. It will not go in that white part. Rather, it will change its projectile from this part. It might go like this, or it might go like this. And the sudden change will overwhelm the air defense system, and that will be failed, and we will be able to strike. So that is why it is called quasi-ballistic missile. What it is called? Quasi-ballistic missile. Right? Quasi-ballistic missile. Right. Now you can write a few points about it. Right? A quasi-ballistic missile can change its path in mid-air, to defeat the interceptor missile of the enemy. Right? Next you can write the range of this missile is 150 to 500 kilometer. 150 to 500 kilometer, and it can carry only conventional warhead. Right? So the whole idea is to defeat the interceptor missile of the enemy, right? And it is obviously solid propelled missile. So surface to surface के साथ ही लिख लो, solid fuel. And this is one of its own kind. India has developed for the first time, and it can be compared to China's missile that is called Dongfeng 12 and Russian missile that is called Iskander. So it is similar to Dongfeng 12 of China and Iskander. Dongfeng 12 of China and Iskander of Russia. So that is your missile system relay, and the term is quasi-ballistic. So this is quasi-ballistic, which is the term. Okay, done. So now we have done with both ballistic missiles. We have left with the cruise missile now. So tomorrow we will be having class. Saturday will be extra class to finish up the entire thing. Okay, so let's move ahead. And the next topic that we are going to discuss is BrahMos. And as the name suggests, BrahMos has got two names, that is Brahmaputra and Moskva. Brahmaputra is Indian river and Moskva is Russian river. And then it indicates that it is Indo-Russian joint venture. So BrahMos is developed by BrahMos Aerospace Limited. That's the company. And this is Indo-Russian joint venture. Right. Indo-Russian joint venture. Any problem with that? Right. So let's talk about that BrahMos is a cruise missile. Right. And we have different type of BrahMos. Right. And there is one BrahMos called BrahMos 1. So there we can talk about BrahMos 1. And even BrahMos 1 has got different type of BrahMos. We'll talk about it. So BrahMos 1, the range of the BrahMos 1, initially it was 290 kilometer. Initial days it was 290 kilometer. But nowadays, when we look at this, then it is around 400 kilometer. Then why this happened? So there is a small information about this, that there is something called MTCR. You must be doing it. MTCR, Missile Technology Control Regime. So once India has done this Pokhran 1 and 2, so MTCR is a Missile Technology Control Regime. It's a group of countries who has developed this MTCR concept to bar those countries out who has developed a nuclear weapon without developed country wish. Right? That is called MTCR. According to MTCR, country like India, who has not signed NPT, yes, Missile Technology Control Regime, who has not signed NPT, will never get a missile technology or missile system which can go beyond 300 kilometer and which can carry more than 500 kg. So this was barred. Then with America, France, Russia, this all are member of MTCR. India was not member of MTCR. India got a membership of MTCR in 2016. So before 2016, India was not able to buy or acquire any missile, yes, 16, 17, any missile which can go beyond 300 kilometer. But BrahMos development started way back in, it's a way back, 1990s में develop कर लिया था, development शुरू हुई थी. So Russia was member of MTCR, India was not. So Russia technically cannot help India to develop any missile which can go beyond 300 kilometers. So this was the range. So this range was what? Before India became, before India's MTCR membership. Right? And this is after India's MTCR membership. So when India signed this NPCR membership in 2017, then all of a sudden this range has been increased because now there is no binding on India and Russia, and now they can develop better missile system and more thing can be done. Right? The speed of this BrahMos is 2.8 Mach. That means it is supersonic. What is that? It is supersonic. That is the speed. Right? Supersonic speed it can go ahead with. Payload, it can carry up to 200 to 300 kg. And remember, 200 300 kg you cannot carry the nuclear warhead. So it can only carry conventional. Because obviously nuclear warhead will be not that lighter one, minimum 500 kg. Right? And it has got stasis 2 stasis, solid booster, and ramjet. Right? So that is BrahMos 1. Moreover, even the BrahMos 1 has got different variants. So BrahMos 1 variants are like land version, air version, ship version, and submarine version. Right? And all of them are developed, sub-developed. Right? So these are the 4 versions that we are having. That land version means surface to surface, air version that from aircraft, ship version that ships launch कर सकते हो, submarine version submarine से launch कर सकते हो. But we don't have submarine for that obviously. And BrahMos is not only for Indian and Russian army, it is also for selling this thing to the other country. हम लोग इसको बेचेंगे भी. Right? Quickly we'll cover the other part, BrahMos 2. Right? So now with the development of BrahMos 1, we developed the second version of it, that is BrahMos 2. So defense technology is like that only, it's a very factual thing. Right? In BrahMos 2, they are saying that range will be range will be up to 800 kilometer. Right? But most important feature about it is speed. It is going to be 7 Mach. That means it is hypersonic. More than 5 Mach speed is called hypersonic. And payload capacity will be same. That is 200 to 300 kg. And obviously with this, you cannot carry the conventional, nuclear warhead. So nuclear warhead cannot be there. Right? So this is what the BrahMos 2. This is how BrahMos 2 will be different from BrahMos 1. Because now this is going to be hypersonic cruise missile. And recently we did one. And obviously this is under development. Right? So this BrahMos 2 is under development. And third we have that is called BrahMos NG, right? BrahMos NG. BrahMos NG means BrahMos next generation or new generation, right? So this is upgradation of BrahMos 1. Of BrahMos 1. So upgradation of BrahMos 1, right? And this is going to be 50% lighter, right? And 3 meter shorter. And this is suitable for Air Force. Although all suitable for Air Force. Although BrahMos NG will be there with the Army and Navy also, but lighter and shorter will be most suitable for what? Air Force, because now the fighter plane can carry it in a better way. Right? So this is BrahMos NG, and this is upgradation over BrahMos 1. Everything is same, but it has been made lighter and shorter. Why? Because it is made up of composite material. Made up of composite material. And composite material means metal and polymers and even nanomaterials can be used. Right? And a current affair you must be aware of that we are selling this BrahMos to Philippines. Philippines is going to be the first country who will buy BrahMos from us. Right? Now, no, right now it's not clear. BrahMos maybe in the future version it is there, but if you search anywhere, then it will not be there. BrahMos, no. Nuclear warhead 200-300 kg का हो ही नहीं सकता. Right. Next one, today's last topic is Nirbhay. Nirbhay missile. So BrahMos is Indo-Russian venture, but this is Indian cruise missile. But I'll tell you that it is not something that we are so much proud of because it is not going the proper way. It is having some problem. Right? This is the speed of this missile is 0.8 Mach, and then make it subsonic. It's fairly fly like the speed of aircraft. So with the speed of aircraft it can fly, but its range is higher, 1,000 kilometer, 1,000 kilometer, and it will have 2 stages. One is solid booster, another is turbojet. Turbojet is a jet engine that we use in aircraft also. Turbojet, and we'll have the variants also. Variants are like air, land, and water. All variants will be there, but success is not there with this. Right? Success is not into this. Right? So although this missile is an Indian endeavor, but this missile is not showing the good success. We can write one more point. Many tests of Nirbhay was not successful. Many tests of Nirbhay was not successful. And DRDO is developing a better engine known as Manik. Better engine known as Manik for Nirbhay. For Nirbhay. So Smita, I'll tell about GE 141, 414. Let the topic come, aircrafts and all, right? Manik for Nirbhay, right? Nirbhay can carry different types of payload. Different types of payload, including conventional and nuclear. Different types of payload, including conventional and nuclear. Conventional and nuclear. So Nirbhay can carry different type of payload, including conventional and nuclear. And this Manik engine is being developed. DRDO is developing new engine for Nirbhay that is called Manik, right? ठीक है. So missile system we have done in this class. Tomorrow we are having live class obviously, Saturday after so many days, because obviously I'll finish it before Sunday. And Sunday, Monday, Tuesday I won't be there because it's a holiday, Dussehra and all. And then from 25th most probably we are going to start an environment chapter. So we'll be tomorrow. Timings most probably will be 10:30 only, but if there is change we'll get to know about it. But certainly we are having class tomorrow, right? So that was very power packed, you can say, like informative and factual class, because defense technology is more about facts and it's a PT oriented thing. And I'll see you tomorrow. Go and eat something, get back to your next class. Maybe recorded or live classes are there for you. And I'll see you tomorrow at the weekend. Thank you. Thanks a lot.